Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and today I am in Houston, Texas at the Texas FFA convention. This is my third convention, and my guest today is Dan Hunter. Dan, hey, welcome back to the show. I got you on here last year. I know Aaron wrangled you for me.
He did. No, it's great to be back. This is a lot of fun. Appreciate the opportunity to visit with folks out there that you get your podcast out to every day. So very excited to be here.
Yeah. So Dan, maybe for some of the people that didn't catch our episode we did with each other last year, maybe just talk a little bit about your role and what you're doing.
Sure. So I serve as the Assistant Commissioner for the Texas Department of Agriculture. So Commissioner for Agriculture in the state of Texas is an elected position. So I'm a political appointee. But essentially what I do is oversee directly multitudes of different programs, but I work with the whole agency as the person who oversees all of our federal and state and government relations activities. In addition to that, a lot of people don't realize all the different things we do at the department. So we feed about 5 million school kids every day. We're in charge of all the food and nutrition programs, the school lunch, or after school programs, summer feeding programs. We're the ones who also give grants out for your Meals on Wheels, your feeding programs for your homebound folks. In addition to that, of course, we do our part on regulatory issues, pesticides, organics, grain warehouses, everything from that standpoint. And then one of the things that I enjoy most about my work is I oversee our communications and external relations division, which allows us to tell a story about agriculture, which is critically important in helping people understand not only what we do, but how important agriculture is, not only to the state of Texas, but to the world and the economy. And that, there's one thing when you start looking at security, and we talk about, people think of security and they think about, armies, and navies, and all those types of things. But food security is as important as personal security. And what I mean by that, it's not just about people who, afford food, but it's also being a country that can be able to produce your own food. Because once you can no longer feed and fuel yourself, you're no longer an independent country. And in addition to that, I get to spend a lot of time with our folks throughout the state on economic development. A lot of people don't realize we oversee the State Office of Rural Health, so all the rural hospitals in the state of Texas come underneath us. We work with communities on economic development through federal funds we bring down for the Community Development Block Grant programs. And then in addition to that, we have our Go Texan marketing program, which is probably one of the more famous marketing programs. You see that little iconic symbol with the state of Texas and a brand on it. In the Go Texan, we help, whether it's a mom and pop salsa company or someone who's just starting up a new business to find a way to get their products not only on shelves in the state of Texas, but around the world. And so we spend a lot of time. I think last year we were on 26 different countries. And so we try and work to put products from Texas, not only on Texas shelves and U.S. shelves, but also around the world, and give our folks an opportunity to do that. And to be quite honest, it's one of the easiest jobs in the world because everybody wants a little something from Texas.
Oh yeah. How many? I interviewed you last year. How many conventions have you been to? Like, how long have you been involved in this area?
We've tried to add this up. So I was a state FFA officer 41 years ago. I know that dates me.
So you've been to one or two?
I've been to one or two. Even during that time. I think I've attended probably between 20 to 25 conventions. 20 to 25, and that's just state conventions. I did a few national conventions as well. But this is one of those places that you come back and the energy all of a sudden captivates you once again. And it makes you realize how wonderful this group and this organization is and what a difference it makes in people's lives.
Man, so I want to take you back a couple years ago, we'll say, to back when you were a member in the FFA. Like, how do you feel that helped prepare you through your life and for what you're doing?
Yeah, no doubt. And I was just speaking to the group of ambassadors, and I kind of told them this story. I've been very fortunate in the fact that I had the opportunity.
And the ambassadors, real quick for everybody.
The ambassadors are the folks who help with the convention. They help with special
and their
guests.
Members.
They're members. They're FFA members. They're juniors and seniors in high school. Very talented individuals who have found a way to serve, their fellow members, but also serve their communities as well. And I think that's one of the big things, that selfless service out there is a critical part of what this organization is about. And so, you look at what this organization did for me and how it made a difference in my life. And I've had a very varied career. I've had an opportunity to spend time in government, both at the beginning and end of my career, working in both Washington, D.C. I've had an opportunity to speak to people around the world. I've
Yeah.
had a chance to meet presidents, prime ministers, princes, kings, queens, speak at the UN in Rome.
Yeah.
I've been around the world multiple times. I've been on the tallest 3 buildings in the world. I was in the Burj Khalifa about 3 months ago. And I remember sitting up there, and it's not the first time I've been there, but you're out looking over the city of Dubai, and I'm going, how did this kid from nowhere, West Texas, end up here?
Yeah.
And the answer is always the same, and it's that blue corduroy jacket you see these guys
Yes.
wearing. That had not been for this organization, there's no reason why I would have ended up doing the things that I've done in my lifetime.
Why is it so important, and why would the Department of Agriculture send a representative like yourself to a conference like this, other than your connection? Like, why is it so important to have representation here?
So a couple of things. I think, it helps us an opportunity to visit with some of these folks that may or may not know exactly what we do at the department. But in addition to that, it gives us an opportunity to expose ourselves to these young folks and say, look, there's always opportunities outside of just the typical farm and ranch. And what we do at the Department of Agriculture, as I mentioned earlier, isn't just about being on the farm and ranch. It's about economic development. It's about worldwide selling of products. It's about technology. We were talking about the AI technology and the different things that we do here. In addition to that, you have the Commissioner of Agriculture, Sid Miller, he's not only a true believer, but a product of the FFA. He grew up in the FFA, came up through it, was a district officer, district president. He actually after he went to school, he was a FFA agriculture agri-science teacher for the first part of his career. So once again, it's been, it's one of those things that when you say us, what do we do here?
Yeah.
It's really as much for us to get an opportunity to let ourselves be known to what these young people might see. And then also you look around the supporters of this, all the different businesses, the opportunities to get the word out through, outlets such as yours, just incredible.
Yeah. You still have fun here.
Oh,
it's a blast.
Yeah.
I try to let people know. I'm like, I do a lot of conferences. I hope none of them see it. And some I have to go to. That's my job, right? But this one I get to and I want to. And I turn down a lot of places to come here. And they're like, where are you going? Or what are you doing? I'm like, nope, Texas FFA. What's that? I'm glad you asked. Anybody that's asked, like, what's the next generation doing? Or are we secure? Or what's going on? Or this generation's doing this? I'm like, come to Texas FFA and you will see respectful young adults that, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Like, it's a different breed. And it's not just like you can talk to anyone.
That's
and
right.
it's a completely different conversation than anywhere else I've been into in the country.
That's right. And what I would tell people, for those of you out there who feel like you don't know where the future is going to go, you don't understand, how we're going to, what the next generation is going to be like.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah.
This is what is going to be the leaders of the future.
Yeah.
These are the young folks who are going to be leaders in business. They're going to be leaders in government. They're going to be leaders in your community, and it gives you hope. It makes you understand that what you're seeing on the news day in and day out is not really what's happening in a lot of places in the world. Because you've got, a group of 177,000 members, 15,000 of them are here. Yeah. And like you said, every one of them are as impressive as the other. Where they come up and they visit with you, they want to understand and talk with you. Yeah. And the energy is phenomenal. You mentioned this week, they started off with a hurricane in Houston. And you don't see a single person complaining about that hurricane here.
It's so true.
Which
is unbelievable.
They faced, adversity. They had to rework their schedules. Some of these kids didn't have places to stay.
Dan, I did an interview with this young member. I did an interview with her, and we're talking. I'm like, how are you doing? Like, we're probably like 80% done with the interview. Yeah. And I finally asked like a very direct question where she could just give me a direct answer, specifically on the drive-in. Was it okay? Did you carpool? She's like, oh, well, the car is wrecked and this, that. I'm okay. Everybody's fine, whatever. And I'm just like, anywhere else, like that type of adversity, would ruin your week. If you would have seen her, you thought she just it was amazing. I was like, wow. And here I am complaining because I had my coffee an hour late. Adam, good job. Suck it up.
Yeah. If you want to see the future, if you want to see hope, if you truly have lost hope in what where our country's going, come here. You'll be restored.
And last question for you, Dan. Sure. For the corporate sponsors or potential corporate sponsors, whether they're, big Fortune 500 companies, whether they're, mom and pop shops, whether they're mid-cap, whatever, why should they be in this room?
So, I think it's a multiple phrase answer. And from what I would say, first of all, is that going back to what I just talked about, if you want to find out and see what the future leaders of this world look like, I'm talking about business, government, and those types of things. But these are actually going to be the people that are going to make a difference in what your business does in the future. This is not you coming here to sell them. This is you coming here and having an opportunity for them to see what you do and be interested in your product. And I would say this, that, whether you're a Fortune 500 or you're a mid-level company or you're just someone that's starting out, if you want to find the best talent in the world, there's not a better place than Texas FFA Convention.
Well said, Dan. Well, thank you for coming back on the show. I really appreciate it. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time with us and you haven't done it yet, this is a daily show. Hit that subscribe button or that follow button, and we'll see you next time.